Nail Manicure Assignment, created and presented by Regina Kreitz, KPI Nail Technician Online Course. Make sure that your table is always set and ready for your customer before your client arrives. Having all tools ready and available on your working side, making sure that you have everything that is needed so that you do not have to stop and interrupt your process of your manicure. Having everything such as your bounty paper towels on the side if you need extra, having all your basic tools, files, cuticle cutters, cuticle pushbacks, any type of product that you'll be using to perform your manicure service. Now that my customer has arrived, my hands are cleaned and sanitized, and I've gotten my customer to clean and sanitize their hands with the nail brush, making sure that all hands are clean, nails underneath, on top, anywhere that could be possible where there could be debris or any type of infectious diseases that could be spread within the salon. I've also asked them to remove all jewelry and push their sleeves up to the elbows so that we can have easy access to the arms and hands when performing a manicure and a massage. We've also completed a nail chart, a client chart, which basically just gives all their basic information and any type of medical history that they may have. We've also started a client card so that we can keep track of the different type of services that the client has performed, and it's more organized for us also. And then first thing we're going to do is we're going to analyze the nails while our customer's sitting here, and we're going to check for any different types of nail problems, cracks, splits, thinness in the nails, thickness, any types of nail issues that the customer could have. Our next step is our client has asked me to create a swivel shaped nail. So I'm going to use a 180 grit file, which would be like your zebra file, but it would be more like the finer side. And what we're going to do is we're going to start with the left hand first always. And we start from the little finger to the thumb. So I'm going to now shape my nails into a swivel shape. Once completed, you take your brush and you brush off any extra debris or dust that could be left on the nail after they've been shaped. Now that our nails have been shaped to the shape that the client has asked for, you're going to use your 4-way file. This would be to smooth out the nails, take away any ridges, any stains, and there are 4 different types of grids that are on your 4-way file. You go from highest to lowest grid. So you would start with your black side of your file, then move to the white, and then there's also 2 shades of gray. So then you would go to the light gray side and then to the lowest grade on your file, which would be the darker gray. Always starting with your baby finger, working to the left on your left hand, always starting first. So now I'm going to file and buff up my nails. Working gently around the cuticle area, as you don't want to damage the cuticle. And you don't want to file too much either, because you are working on a natural nail. This is only just to remove ridges, stains, anything that's on the nail, just to be able to perfect their nail. Remember to always move your client's finger around also, so that you're not always working in one area, and not to be filing in one area at all times either. You don't want to burn your client's finger either, because you are using a file. Working around the cuticle area carefully. If you're watching your video, you can also get a good practice routine on knowing how much to be filing by taking one of your training nails and applying a permanent marker over top of the nail and just coloring over it. And then you'll be able to see how to file, and you'll see where you're missing any places, and knowing how much pressure to be putting and how long it takes to be able to remove any of the extra, discoloration or ridges that could be on the nail. Good practice technique just to be able to help you to practice, so that you know how much you should be filing on your client's nails. Remember, be careful also around the free edge. You do not want to apply too much pressure around the nail. Oh, my nail's popping off here. You don't want that to happen. As I was saying, around the free edge, you want to be careful, because if it's a thin nail that you're working on, you're always making sure you're checking for the viscosity of the nail also, especially when you start, just so that you know the type of nail that you're dealing with and the type of treatment that you would suggest to your clients. So now I'm done with my dark side. I'm going to use the white side, which would be your next grade of grit. And this just basically helps to smooth out the nail after filing. And you'll see when you're doing the second grit here how nice the nail actually looks after you've done the removal of any stains or ridges. This is basically just evening back out the nail. Again, being careful around your cuticle edges and your cuticle. And also being careful around your nail edge. Being careful around your free flow. The point is not to damage the nail. You create white spots in the nail. And you don't want to cause any type of damage so that there's infection in the nail either. Now that I'm done with this side, you would go to your light gray side because it'd be your next grade of grit on your file. And this basically just buffs the nail. You'll see as you practice, the more you practice, the better you get at it. And you'll see how the different types of files actually work with the nails and the process of what it's doing for you, adding shine back to your nail. Like I said, this is just to buff the nail. And then your next grit would be just to give it a bit of a shine again. And then finally you would use your dark gray, and this gives you the shine back to the nail. And once that's complete, you take your brush and remove any extra dust that could be left over on the nail underneath the free edge. And that's how you use your 4-way file, and then you proceed with your next step. After I've completed my left hand, I'm now going to take my manicure bowl and a fizzy, and I'm going to let my customer's hand soak so that I can proceed on with the right hand. Again, using a 180 grit file, working from the baby finger to the big finger, and I'd also be asking the client if there's any types of products that he or she may use at this time. After my client is done soaking the one hand, I would take the right hand and I would soak the right hand, and I would take my hand with my towel and I would gently dry the hands, rubbing the nails, pushing back the cuticles. Now that my client's hands have been fully dried, I am now going to apply a cuticle remover, and we can also use a heated oil treatment. I'll use a Q-tip with this, my cuticle remover, and I apply it around the cuticle. And you can also apply the treatment oil underneath the free edge. Once this step is complete, I will take my cuticle pusher, starting with the baby finger, working my way to the thumb, always starting with the left hand. I will gently go over the nail, up and around the cuticle edge and the sides, making sure not to dig into the natural nail. This is only used just to remove any extra debris and extra cuticle that's on the nail. Then after, you can use your little scoop that's on your stainless steel kit to clean underneath the nails. Now that my client's cuticles have been pushed back, I did forget to mention one thing. When pushing back cuticles, do not go underneath the cuticle. You do not want to damage the mother of the nail, which is also called the matrix. You want to be careful not to cause any damage to the fingers. Now I will be prepared to use my cuticle nippers, which is also your cuticle cutters. And I'm going to apply, again, my cuticle remover. In the first part where you're actually pushing back the cuticles, you're supposed to usually use a treatment oil just to basically soften everything up. So I'm going to use my cuticle remover, and I will use a Q-tip again, and I will apply, starting with the baby finger, around the cuticle area. And then you take your cuticle cutters. When using your cuticle cutters, you hold them in your hand as such. If your client does not need to have their cuticles cut, you can also still apply the cuticle remover just to remove any type of cuticle or extra skin or debris that's on the nail. When using your cuticle cutters, you start around your sides, making sure not to dig downwards. You never cut down and never pull up on any of the cuticle that you are removing. Also remember never to cut into the live cuticle. You're only removing extra cuticle or hardened skin that might be around the nail. If you do this technique properly, you should be able to have it all come off basically into one piece. As you see, I never stick my cuticle cutters down to cut into the skin. Always leaving it nicely flat edged with the nail line so that you're not cutting into natural skin. You don't want to damage any of the skin or cause any infection or cuts to your customer. Now that our client's cuticles have been removed, we once again need to place their hand, starting with the left, into the sanitized water just to be able to clean and scrub underneath and over top of the nails. Once this is complete, you would take the bowl and put it in there for their right hand to be able to soak so that it can sanitize also. And you would take your towel and dry off the fingernails and the hands, making sure that you also rub the fingernails at the same time. Now that our client's hands are clean, the cuticles have been removed, pushed back, you now want to buff your client's nails. You received a buffing cream within your kit, and you also received a buffer, which works amazing for buffing the nails, and I'm going to show you how to use it. For me, what I would use is a Q-tip, and you would start again with your baby finger working to the thumb on the left hand and then going to your right hand. I'm going to apply my cream with a Q-tip just so that you're not wasting at all. And I'm just going to apply a little bit on each finger. And this is to give them a nice shine to their nails. You don't need a lot, just enough to be able to give the nails a nice shine while you're buffing. Buffing cream smells really good too. And it's an amazing product to be able to put all the nutrients back into the nail and help you to give it a nice, beautiful shine to the nail. Nails look so pretty. So nice and clean looking, nice and shiny and healthy looking. And now your client has beautiful, shiny, buffed nails. Now that our manicure has been completed, the next step that you need to do is put your tools away to be sanitized properly. You would take your manicure bowl and set it aside, and you would be able to either clean it and sterilize it with a sterilizing solution or an antibacterial soap. And then your tools, you would take them and you would wrap them up into your Bounty cloth. But being careful to not hit your metal objects together because you don't want anything to get chipped or worn down because these tools are very fragile. So I would roll them up in my Bounty and put them aside to put them into my bar. First, I would scrub and wash my tools with a sanitizing, disinfectant, antibacterial soap, and then soak them into my barbicide for at least 10 minutes so that they can sanitize properly. And my towel, I would put it aside to be able to wash it for later on.